Hey card making friends, welcome back. It's Sandi here, and today I am playing with the Spellbinders January 2023 Small Die of the Month, and this is the Sentimental Ampersand. And as you can see, it's got a beautiful ampersand, some flowers, some leaves, and a whole bunch of sentiments. So the cardstock for today, I'm using a white to A2 size card base, a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 card front, some green, some pink, some gold, some dark pink, light and dark purple, and some yellow. And we'll be die cutting with all of these. For the background, we're going to be using this month's Embossing Club. This is the Stylized Trellis embossing folder, and it's got a beautiful repeat pattern. It's just gorgeous. Here's a card I did the other day with it, showing it in the background. It's just beautiful. And I have another one at the end that I actually used the 3D embossing folder on. And this one is called Floral Archways. And you can see this one a bit better because I had some white ink on it. This is a new program, 3D embossing folders. Unfortunately, that one sold out this month already. So sign up for that program really quick because it sells out fast. Okay, so I popped my 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 piece of white cardstock inside the embossing folder. I'm using the universal plate system, and we've got the base platform, has all the instructions on how to set up your sandwich. So I'm just setting it up, putting my C plate on, and trying to line these all up straight so that I can run this through my Platinum 6. And I actually go back the other way as well to make sure that I get a really good deep impression on this. Isn't it beautiful? Woohoo! Love this embossing folder. Now I'm just using some tear tape down both sides, peeling off the protective covers, and then going to do the other ends. I prefer to use this instead of a tape runner because it's a little bit stronger than a tape runner, and I don't have to press down on it really hard, so it's not going to flatten out all that embossing I just did. Here's a trick for you. Get your MISTI out. Take the foam and everything out of the base, place your card base inside there, and use that top corner in your MISTI to line up your top piece, and it will line up perfectly onto your card base for you. You can also do the same thing with the Score Buddy. Okay, moving on to the die cutting. We're going to lay out all the pieces that we need on all the different colors. I'm starting with my Mere Gold cardstock. The ampersand is going on there as well as my sentiments. There's quite a few sentiments in this set, and I'm using Happy Birthday and then the ampersand and many more. I think that's what it says. Don't quote me on that. 2 large flowers on the dark pink, so we're going to be doing a couple of cuts with that. The small flowers are in light pink, and there's also one in yellow, I believe. There's a light and a dark purple. We're going to be using the whole image for the dark purple, the half image for the light purple. You see the flower right here on the card. And then the yellow is going to be for one small flower and then the flower centers. So pretty much using everything except the extra sentiments. And you see that I cut my pieces really small. The reason I do that is I can get all of those in one cut. So instead of doing one color at a time through the machine, I'm doing 1, 2, 3, I'm doing 6. And I'm using the best ever craft tape to hold everything in place so it doesn't rattle around. That way I can go back and forth without them moving. And that is by far my favorite tape for gluing down dies to put them through. I've tried all the others. I keep going back to this one every single time. Yellow is good. Okay, so I'm using my Barely Art glue with its super fine tip, and I'm adding the overlay onto my ampersand, and it's got a really cool embossed detail on it. Taking my tweezers and poking out all of the little extra pieces from the flower centers. There's a whole bunch of little guys that you got to get out of there. And then we're just going to start doing our layering. I'm using my embellishment wand. It's a really good tool for picking up all these little pieces of cardstock, because I have fat little fingers with very short fingernails. So this is my go-to tool. And we're just going to rip along, and we're going to add all the centers, going to do our layering. So you see here there's 2 pink flowers and there's a yellow one. So I put a white center on the yellow flower, yellow centers on the pink flowers. And then into these little purple guys. The dark purple ones are the background. Okay, and then the light purple ones are the overlay. So I'm going to do little tiny 3 dots of glue on each of the dark purple ones. And again, using my embellishment wand and just picking up the pieces and layering them. Doesn't that work well? You probably just thought that was for jewels. It isn't. Works great for paper. Okay, another trick. cut your squares in half. These are the foam squares, and then they'll fit on the back of all these skinny little pieces. So here's the first one. I've got all the gold placed onto the card front. Now I'm going to come along and place small pieces of foam tape on the back of all of these additional little pieces, and we're going to start adding them in. So I'm starting with my big flowers first. Then I go to my smaller flowers. So I'm sticking a pink one there and a yellow one down there. And then I'm going to add pink to the top. And then I've got 3 purples I'm going to tuck in. So 2 in the bottom and 1 on the top. And I like to do my flowers first because then I can tuck in my leaves underneath and do overlays and kind of fill in as I go. And you want to be careful that you don't cover too much of the ampersand. Otherwise, somebody might not see what it actually is if you cover up too much of it. So trim the tails off the larger leaves, and that will help them tuck underneath the larger flowers and they won't run into the foam tape that's underneath of them. I'm using 2 of the larger ones on the bottom, and I'm just adding glue to the bottom 2 leaves, letting the other ones kind of float. That way I can fluff them up if I want to and have a more 3D effect for my card. And just adding a little bit more glue. And those ones I'll get tucked under there. These ones, the long skinny ones, I'm also going to cut all of the stems off because they kind of go around the purple flowers. And again, I'm doing a tuck in over top of the flower with the little ones and then underneath with the long ones. And you'll see as I get going here. And your tweezers, your reverse tweezers are a really good thing for these. The pieces are quite small, so use the tweezers to hold on to them and then add your glue and it will stop getting all over your fingers. Okay, so the little ones are going in front of the purple and the long ones I am going to tuck in behind. Well, this is a short one, so I'm just tucking it in there. I think this is a long one now. Yep, so then that one's going to go there and extend out the bouquet. And the same thing with this one, going underneath the purple one at the very end. And then this one's going to go in the top purple one. So then all I have are the little tiny leaves finished, and I'm kind of using those as fill. Adding a little bit of green in a few different spots. And the stems on these ones are quite short. So other than I think in one spot, I didn't cut them off. I just kind of lifted and tucked underneath. And doubling up because that's on the outside edge. So I wanted to add a little bit there. I'm going to take one of the big ones and tuck it in underneath the red flower. Right about there. And I'm going to do the same thing to the other, I guess it's dark pink. It looks kind of, I don't know, poppy red in these lights, but it is actually kind of a magenta pink. I just hit my scrap bin for all of these. So some of them are Spellbinders colors, some are not. I think most of them are. Okay, so my last leaf. Hate to leave any spare leaves lying around. Okay, and I decided that this was enough. I thought about adding some gems and pearls and stuff that, you know what, with all the beautiful gold for the ampersand and the sentiments, that was plenty of bling for me. Turned out lovely, don't you think? And didn't take very long either. I hope you enjoyed today's card. Thanks so much for stopping in. As always, if you're interested in any of the products I used, be sure to check out the links below this video, as well as the link over to my blog where you will find the detailed tutorial and the supply list for today's projects. Thanks so much for watching and have a wonderful day.